It's the new city building with an eye-catching design and a multi-million-dollar price tag. And our questions about the high cost touched a nerve.
You keep using the term cheaper, and I keep talking about value.
Now we go back and uncover more in our investigation after city employees asked us to dig deeper. It was back in March we showed you the skyrocketing price tag for the new home for engineers who work on Portland's sewer system.
Right, and now Dan Tilkin reveals some of those expensive choices that were made with the public's money. And Dan, you say actually the mayor has now ordered an investigation based on your work?
Right. You know, some city employees, even some contractors, told us to take a hard look at four things. They said the true cost of the building was a lot more than the city was telling us. They said we should look at examples of high-end spending. They said the money should be spent to fix failing infrastructure. They said we should ask questions about who and how the building was designed. Now, this is timely because in just 2 weeks, Portland voters are deciding whether to take control of sewer and water bureaus away from the city.
So this is where the visitors come in and check in?
Months ago, when the head of environmental services first showed us the new offices at the Columbia Boulevard wastewater treatment plant, he pointed out the work environment for the engineers who keep Portland's $12 billion sewer system up to date. Outside, he showed us the 7 angled rooftops designed to capture natural light and rainwater. It complies with the city's requirement to construct new environmentally friendly buildings to what's called the Gold LEED standard. The city says the features will save $2.5 million over the next 4 decades. The city documents show the building was originally conceived at $3.4 million. That estimate went up and up and up again to $7.7 million, approved by the city council without any public discussion. We learned the entire project cost rose to $11.4 million. With 38 employees working here, that comes out to $300,000 per worker.
It's not lavish. It gets the job done in the most cost-effective way for the ratepayers. That's what we're proud of.
But a source told me the city wasn't giving me the true cost. I learned the real project cost has grown to more than $12.5 million when all overhead is included. Then I started digging through city documents to look at how the public's money was spent. Then we went back to see for ourselves. A sample starting in the lobby.
These must be the chairs that cost $1,900 a piece.
This carpet underneath was ordered from a luxury custom carpet company and cost over $5,000. Fabric for this bench cost $60 a yard. In the men's room, we saw the custom-made stainless steel sink. City documents say confusion over what the architect wanted cost an extra $15,000 to maintain the building aesthetics. Also in the bathroom,
people wondered about the price of this glass tile here, whether that was really necessary.
Then there's the custom stall doors.
The architect wanted taller doors.
A city email suggests the doors cost nearly $1,100 extra. Back in the lobby, there's the matter of the mural, an aerial view of Portland. Turns out it couldn't be printed on the existing wall material. New tile had to be ordered at an extra cost of $19,000. None of the city employees or contractors who spoke with me were willing to go on camera. They're afraid to bite the hand that feeds them. They're afraid for their future employment. But they want the public to know how decisions were made about their money. And the Bureau of Environmental Services also refused to do a new on-camera interview to answer new questions about spending. But internal city email suggests the staff was uneasy. One of the city's project supervisors wrote, "It often feels like we are not holding Skanska, the contractor, accountable for their project management decisions." She continues, "Cost is an overriding issue. However, we are spending considerable money for this building. We should not make nickel and dime decisions that will affect the quality of the finished product." But it's the contractor who blamed the city for changing plans. A spokesperson for Skanska said to me about the city, "Maybe there was not an awareness of the construction process necessary when you have the LEED requirements. All factors and cost were related in change orders that were city generated." When I talked to people involved in this project, there was one word that kept coming up over and over again. That word is art. They said the city and designers were intent on creating a piece of art, and art doesn't come cheaply. One city employee who doesn't want to be identified was so outraged at the spending on this building, the employee sent me these pictures of corroded and patched pipes inside the adjacent sewer treatment plant. See the plastic sheeting hanging down in this picture? The employee says that's to protect leaking sewage from spraying onto these electrical units with 13,000 volts. The city admits 10% of the infrastructure is in poor or bad shape. The city says these pipes pose no immediate threat to the facility or to employees and will eventually be added to our repair schedule. One of the cost overruns is project design. That budget went from $500,000 to $1.4. Several people told me I should take a close look at Skylab architecture, which got a lot of that money. The city contract lists Skylab owner Jeff Koval as the principal design architect. It lists Brent Grubb as project architect. Other city documents also list Grubb as an architect. The city's own project construction manager told me he understood Grubb to be an architect, and Grubb to be the same man who wanted the $60 a yard fabric for that bench. That city project manager wrote in an email to the contractor, "I figured it was $70 a yard, knowing Brent." But state records say Grubb doesn't have an architect license in Oregon. When I went to Skylab to ask questions, his boss, Jeff Koval, told me off camera Grubb does have a license in California. I checked, and California tells me that's not true. Off camera, Koval told me it doesn't matter Grubb doesn't have an Oregon architect's license because Koval signed off on the plans. Koval told me the project is a really successful project. It's very complex. There's lots of layers to what happened there. It's easy to sort of target and say this is somebody doing something wrong here, but I don't think that's true. We were also told to ask about this man, James Bowen. Hi, James. My name is Dan Tilkin. I'm a reporter for Channel 6 News. Bowen was the city's architect on this project. Near completion, Bowen quit the city and went to work for Skylab. Bowen hasn't called me back, but his boss at Skylab said there's no conflict of interest. When asked the city if it investigated Bowen's change of employment, a spokesman wrote, Bowen's activities were closely monitored. When Skylab recruited Bowen, any contractual responsibilities with the project and Skylab were transferred to an employee supervisor. Environmental Services uses many contract workers who are free agents in their personal career decisions. Meanwhile, there's still issues to be worked out at the building, like cell phones. Try making a call out.
Call failed.
The thick walls block the signal. A fixed city emails say could be anywhere from $4,000 to $40,000.
Now, Environmental Services says the project is a good investment in the long run. They say the expensive furniture and the other things we showed you are built to last. Now, they say the overall project includes security improvements at the sewage facility site. They have some sensitive chemicals there, and that is part of the cost in all this that people are not taking into account.
But once again, Dan, this is a building, not a big public building, but a building for how many employees?
38 employees. So now the cost comes out to about $330,000 per employee to build them each a house.
And now there's an investigation being launched?
Right. In this letter to the auditor, the mayor is asking for an investigation. So is Commissioner Nick Fish. They write, recent information from us has prompted our concern about appropriate levels of oversight from project inception to the closing activities for the project. Now, we should note, Commissioner Fish was not in charge of the Bureau when he and the other commissioners approved it unanimously without any discussion.
What I have now is more questions than answers, and I want to make sure that we have a full accounting for how this project went twice what the council originally approved. And I also want to know whether there's ways we can be more transparent and accountable in the way we do our work.
Now, we went to Commissioner Dan Salzman's office today to follow up on our earlier request for an interview. It was Salzman who was in charge of Environmental Services when the council approved the project. He was in his office today. He did not get back to us with our questions. We, of course, will follow up on what the auditor finds out in their investigation.
Well, built to last is one thing, but that kind of design and artwork, as you mentioned, that does cost money. I would frankly have liked a lot of those finishings in my own home, but I can't afford them.
That's what a lot of city employees told us. They were outraged at the spending.
And questions over oversight. Who was watching over this whole thing?
Right, and that's what this audit's going to try to find out.
All right, Dan, keep us updated on the story.
Great investigation, Dan. Thank you.